History doesn't remember the timid. It remembers the ones who acted when others doubted, who moved in the shadows while others slept. Denzel Washington's wisdom isn't about playing safe. It's about stepping into your darkest moments and bending them into weapons. These are not lessons for the weak. They are for those ready to rewrite the rules. You think motivation will save you. You think inspiration, that fleeting burst of energy, will carry you to the summit. No. Motivation is the spark, but sparks fade. What you need is fire that never dies. And that fire is self-discipline. The kind that doesn't wait for feelings to cooperate. The kind that moves forward even when every fiber in your body screams to stop. Self-discipline is not glamorous. It is not loud. It does not make noise on social media. It is built in the silence of early mornings, when the world still sleeps, and you are at war with yourself. It's the alarm clock that tears you from the comfort of your bed. It's the workout you do when your body aches. It's the study session when your mind is exhausted. This is the moment where most people break, where they make excuses, where they promise themselves they'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes for the undisciplined. Denzel Washington once said, "Without commitment, you'll never start. Without consistency, you'll never finish." That is the essence of self-discipline. The ability to remain consistent when your emotions shift, when the thrill is gone, when all that remains is the grind. People romanticize success, but they do not see the bloodless war you fight every day to keep yourself moving forward. They do not see the temptation to quit, the easy roads calling your name. But discipline whispers back, "Not yet, keep going." Understand this. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. Because when you commit to your goals and follow through, you are proving to yourself that you are worthy of the life you dream about. The undisciplined man is a prisoner to his impulses. He eats what he wants, spends what he wants, wastes time as he wants. And in doing so, he sells his future for temporary comfort. But the disciplined man, he suffers now to reign later. Machiavelli taught that the prince who controls himself controls his state. You are the ruler of your own kingdom, your mind, your body, your time. If you cannot govern them, someone else will. Your boss will own your hours. Your cravings will own your health. Your doubts will own your decisions. That's why discipline is not just a habit, it is a weapon, a shield against chaos. You must train yourself to act without negotiation. When you wake up and think, "Should I work out today?" you've already lost. There is no debate. There is only doing. The greatest mistake is thinking you will always feel ready. You won't. Champions act while they are afraid, tired, uncertain. They obey the command they gave themselves when they were clear. Headed, not the excuse their weakness invents in the moment. Think of the soldier. He doesn't wait until he feels like training. He trains because his life depends on it. And in truth, so does yours. Because every day you slip into comfort, you are training yourself to accept a smaller life. You are teaching your mind to settle for less, to run from pressure, to fear the discomfort that would have made you stronger. Self-discipline is brutal at first because it strips you of all illusions. It reveals that you have no one to blame for your failures, but yourself. It demands you stop pointing fingers and start taking action. It doesn't matter how tired you are, how unfair life has been, how far behind you feel. the disciplined don't wait for perfect conditions. They create them. There will be mornings when you wake up and nothing in you wants to move. That is the battlefield. And if you win there, you will win everywhere else. You will start to see that your willpower is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it will hurt. You will want to stop. But over time, what once felt impossible will become routine. This is why the undisciplined envy the disciplined. They see the results, the body, the career, the respect. But they will never understand the years of invisible labor it took to get there. They will call it luck. They will call it talent. But the truth is, it was discipline, day after day, when no one was watching. Denzel's power came not from being the most gifted actor in the room, but from being the most relentless. He showed up prepared, sharp, ready every time. And that is what life respects. The man who shows up no matter how he feels. You may not be the fastest, the smartest, or the most talented, but if you are the most disciplined, you will outlast them all. And here's the darker truth: discipline means you will lose people. Friends who want you to relax. Family who thinks you're too obsessed. They won't understand because they have chosen comfort over greatness. And that's fine. Let them live in the shallow end. You are building yourself for deep waters. You must learn to love the repetition, the monotony, the grind. Because those who endure it will own the rewards. You will feel yourself harden, sharpen, transform. You will no longer chase inspiration. You will move without it. And when others wonder how you keep going, you will know the secret they never learned. Every empire in history has been built on the rubble of failure. Every great man you admire has walked through the fire of humiliation, loss, and defeat. Yet most people treat setbacks like death sentences. They stop. They retreat. They carry their wounds like permanent scars instead of sharpening them into weapons. But those who rise, those who dominate, do something different. They use their pain as leverage. When Denzel Washington talks about failure, he doesn't speak of it as something to avoid. He speaks of it as a necessity. He failed auditions. He was told no more times than he could count. But he never let a rejection be the end of the story. Every no became an internal debt, something he owed to himself to repay with victory. And that is where the power lies, not in avoiding the fall, but in standing up and making the fall work for you. Most people see a setback as evidence that they're not good enough. The Machiavellian mind sees it as evidence that they are being tested, that the world is watching to see if they deserve the throne they seek. A failure is a message. You are not ready yet. And instead of running from it, you lean into it, dissect it, study it. Because inside every defeat is the blueprint for your next move. Think of it like a chess game. The amateur panics when a piece is taken. The master understands that losing a piece is often the key to luring the opponent into a trap. That is how you must treat your setbacks, not as random cruelty, but as calculated openings. Your business failed. Good. Now you know which allies are real and which will vanish at the first sign of trouble. You were betrayed. Good. Now you know where the weak points in your defense are. This is intelligence you could never buy. The weak retreat from the battlefield. The strategist adapts his tactics and returns stronger. The truth is, most people will never use their failures because they are too busy feeling sorry. for themselves. They want sympathy instead of strategy. But sympathy doesn't build empires. You must learn to weaponize your wounds. Every betrayal should make you wiser. Every loss should make you hungrier. Every humiliation should harden you until you are immune to it. Machiavelli understood that power is not about winning every fight. It's about surviving every loss, because survival gives you time. Time to regroup, time to rebuild, time to strike again. The longer you stay in the game, the greater your chances of victory. And the only way to stay in the game is to master the art of using defeat to your advantage. Look at the history of every conqueror. Napoleon learned strategy from his early failures. Churchill was thrown out of political office before leading Britain through its darkest hour. They didn't see their defeats as proof of weakness. They saw them as a training ground. Each setback gave them sharper instincts, stronger resolve, and the ability to make moves others couldn't even see. When you fail, the world sees it as a step backward. But in truth, it can be a step back only to launch you forward with more force. The arrow is pulled backward before it flies, and the deeper it is drawn, the faster and farther it goes. The deeper your fall, the greater your rise can be, if you choose to use it. Most people will let a single setback define them for life. They will carry it like a chain, using it as the reason they never tried again. But the disciplined mind turns that chain into armor. They take the same weight that crushed them and forge it into something that protects them in the next battle. The humiliation that once burned them now makes them untouchable, because nothing anyone says can hurt more than what they've already endured. You must stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "How can I make this serve me?" This question changes everything. It forces your mind into strategy instead of self-pity. It turns your setback from an emotional wound into an asset. You stop seeing the event as a curse and start seeing it as a tool. Denzel's path to greatness wasn't a straight road lined with applause. It was a battlefield scattered with the wreckage of failed roles, lost opportunities, and doors slammed in his face. But he understood the law: the more you lose, the more you learn. If you're willing to face the lesson, the loss is not the end unless you choose to stop. You must carry your failures the way a warrior carries his battle scars, not as shame, but as proof that you have been tested and lived. Every time life knocks you down, you collect information. Every time you're underestimated, you gather power in the shadows. You become unpredictable, dangerous, unbreakable, because the enemy thinks you are wounded. But in truth, you are sharpening your sword. Power is not given to the man who wants everything. It is given to the man who is willing to cut away almost everything. Distractions are not just harmless moments of wasted time. They are thieves. They steal your focus, your energy, your life, piece by piece, until you wake up one day, realizing you've been busy for years, but achieved nothing of consequence. The Machiavellian understands this truth. Every moment spent on the meaningless is a moment stolen from building the empire. Look around you. Distraction is everywhere, disguised as entertainment, comfort, or harmless indulgence. Your phone hums with notifications. People demand your attention for things that have nothing to do with your mission. Your mind, addicted to quick pleasure, craves the next hit of novelty. This is not accidental. The world is designed to keep you occupied with crumbs, so you never reach for the feast. Denzel Washington's success didn't come from chasing every opportunity or entertaining every request. It came from a sharp, almost ruthless focus on his craft. When he was learning, he was all in. When he was practicing, nothing else mattered. He didn't dilute his energy across 100 different pursuits. He concentrated it like a blade. And that blade cut through the noise until only the goal remained. The disciplined man is willing to say no, not politely, but decisively, because every yes to distraction is a no to your own future. Every unnecessary conversation, every wasted hour on meaningless entertainment, every task that doesn't serve the mission is a leak in your ship. You cannot cross the ocean with a ship full of holes. Machiavelli would tell you that power requires the ability to deny the many for the sake of the few. That means stripping away comforts, cutting ties with those who pull you from the path, refusing to indulge in pleasures that weaken your edge. You must see distractions for what they are, weapons aimed at your ambition. And if you allow them to linger, you are handing your enemies the tools to destroy you. This isn't about working endlessly without rest. It's about clarity, knowing exactly what matters and eliminating everything that does not serve it. The most dangerous opponent is the one who moves without wasted motion. He is not scattered. He is not overwhelmed. He knows where he is going and why. You cannot catch him off guard because he is not looking anywhere but forward. The truth is, you already know what your distractions are. You know the people who drain you. You know the habits that waste your time. But most will never cut them off because they are addicted to the comfort these distractions provide. That comfort is poison. It keeps you sedated while life passes you by. There will be times when eliminating distractions will make you feel isolated. You will lose friends. You will seem cold. You will hear you've changed. Good. That's the point. The man you were before was drowning in noise. The man you are becoming walks through silence with precision. Every moment is accounted for. Every action serves the plan. And here's the harsh truth. You cannot build something great while giving equal attention to the trivial. The great generals of history didn't prepare for war while scrolling through gossip. The greatest actors, athletes, and leaders didn't reach the top while answering every meaningless call. They built walls around their time and guarded them like treasure. You must treat your focus like a fortress. Every distraction is an intruder, and you cannot be gentle with intruders. You remove them immediately, without hesitation. That text that pulls you away from your work, gone. That toxic friend who only wants your attention when it's convenient for them, cut off. That habit that eats away at your energy, replace it with something that sharpens you. Discipline and focus is not just about avoiding what's bad. It's about creating an environment where only what's useful remains. It's about designing your days so the temptation for distraction barely exists. You remove the junk food from the house so you don't eat it. You turn off notifications so your mind isn't hijacked. You schedule your priorities instead of trying to fit them in around chaos. Denzel didn't get where he is by being available to everyone. He understood that attention is currency, and he spent it only where it gave him a return. Every role he took, every moment he prepared, was a deliberate investment. You must think the same way. Every hour is an investment in your empire, and distractions are the bad trades that bankrupt it. You will be tempted to keep distractions close because they give you quick pleasure. But remember this, the most dangerous chains are the ones that feel comfortable. The chair that feels soft becomes the place you never get up from. The habit that feels harmless becomes the slow decay of your ambition. The people who seem like company are often the ones keeping you from the solitude where transformation happens. The man who eliminates distraction becomes something rare. He becomes dangerous because his focus is undivided. His energy is concentrated. His moves are calculated. And when he strikes with everything he has, because nothing has been allowed to weaken him. Along the way, power is never in the man who speaks the loudest. It is in the man who knows when to speak and when to remain silent. Silence is not weakness. It is a strategy. And patience is not passivity. It is the art of timing your moves so they land with the greatest possible impact. Together, silence and patience form a weapon sharper than any sword. Most people cannot stand silence. They feel the need to fill the air with noise, to prove their worth with constant talking, constant explaining, constant defending. But the man who can sit in silence without anxiety commands the room without saying a word. When you are silent, you see more. You hear more. You notice the details that others miss because they are too busy trying to be heard. Denzel Washington doesn't waste words. When he speaks, it is deliberate. When he pauses, the pause itself carries weight. That is the mark of someone who understands the value of restraint. Machiavelli would tell you that in politics, in war, in life, revealing too much too soon is suicide. The wise man holds his cards close. He lets others reveal themselves first. He studies them, listens to them, watches their patterns. And when the time is right, he makes his move with precision. Patience is the companion of silence. Without patience, silence becomes torture. You must train yourself to wait without desperation, to delay gratification without losing focus. The world is filled with men who act too soon, who make moves before their position is strong, who attack before the enemy is exposed. These men burn out quickly, and their failures are loud. But the patient man builds in the shadows. He strengthens his foundation while others rush ahead. He is not distracted by the illusion of speed. He is focused on inevitability. Silence is a shield. It protects your intentions from being diluted or destroyed by outside interference. When you speak of your plans too soon, you invite sabotage. Not always from enemies, but from friends who cannot see your vision, from people who plant seeds of doubt, from those who simply do not understand the fire you carry. Every word you speak about a plan is an opportunity for it to be weakened. But in silence, your plans are untouchable. Patience is the sword that follows the shield. It allows you to choose the moment when your move will have the maximum effect. The impatient man shows his hand too early. The patient man waits until there is no room for the opponent to escape. This is not about avoiding action. It is about ensuring your action cannot fail. The mastery of silence also means mastering your reactions. Not every insult needs an answer. Not every provocation deserves your energy. When you react instantly to everything, you give power to the person pulling your strings. But when you remain still, when you respond on your own terms, you break their control. Silence is not about letting things slide. It is about deciding which battles matter and which are distractions designed to pull you off course. Patience does not mean inaction. It means deliberate action at the right time. A lion does not chase every movement in the grass. It waits, still watching, until the prey steps into the perfect position. Then, and only then, does it strike. And when it does, there is no escape. This is how you must operate in your life. You cannot win by being everywhere, reacting to everything. You win by choosing the exact moment when your energy will bring the greatest result. The world glorifies speed, but history belongs to those who move at the right time. Napoleon could wait for the enemy to stretch too thin before attacking. Businessmen who dominate industries often wait years before launching their idea, watching the market, studying the patterns, preparing for a strike that wipes out their competition in one move. This is the art of patience. And understand this: your silence will make people uncomfortable. They will pressure you to speak, to explain, to share your thoughts so they can feel they understand you. But the moment they understand you completely, you lose leverage. The unknown is a source of power. Mystery creates gravity. The less they know, the more they speculate. And the more they speculate, the more attention they give you without you lifting a finger. Denzel carries this energy into his performances and into his life. He does not rush to please. He does not over-explain. He allows the silence between his words to command as much attention as the words themselves. That is not accidental. That is control. And control is the heart of power. Patience also means you can withstand discomfort without breaking. Most people rush decisions because they cannot endure uncertainty. But uncertainty is where the advantage hides. The longer you can hold your position without flinching, the more opportunities you will see. The longer you can wait without showing frustration, the more your opponents will reveal about themselves. The mastery of silence and patience requires strength. It requires the ability to resist the easy gratification of being heard, the quick relief of action for action's sake. It demands that you think like a strategist, not a gambler, that you value positioning over movement, influence over noise, inevitability over speed. It means you understand that the right word, spoken at the right moment, can shift the balance of power more than 1,000 speeches shouted in the wrong season. The world will not hand you greatness. It will test you, tempt you, and try to distract you until you forget why you started. But if you master yourself, nothing can stop you. Discipline will make you unshakable. Setbacks will become the raw material for your rise. Distractions will vanish under the weight of your focus. And with silence and patience as your constant allies, you will move with precision while the rest waste their strength on noise. These are not gentle lessons. They are forged in struggle, sharpened in failure, and proven in the lives of those who refuse to bend. Denzel Washington lives there. Machiavelli wrote them, and now you have heard them. The question is not whether they work. The question is whether you will use them. Because the moment you do, the moment you decide to commit without apology, the life you dream of will no longer be a possibility. It will be a certainty.